Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Observable Flutter. Uh, I am your host, Craig LeBenz, and today we have a special episode that will feature our first guest on the show. So I'm pretty excited about that. But before we fully get into it, just remind everyone that this is a civil place on the internet, one of the last few remaining. So we are certainly abiding by the Flutter Code of Conduct here. Let's all remain respectful of any technology that we're talking about, even if we're advocating for something else. That is very important to me. A lot of creators of these technologies will be in the chat, and they are donating their time to us so that our apps can be up and running more quickly. But enough of that. So today, I'm joined by Jose, and I'm now realizing I've never said your last name out loud. Ujia? Ujia? Maybe your first assignment can be to clarify exactly how to pronounce your name, Jose. But he joins me from Google Pay, and we're going to be talking about their Flutter integration, which covers not just Google Pay, but also Apple Pay. So extremely handy for us. And let's bring everybody in here. So I'm going to this and Jose, welcome.
Hello,
Oh, this
hello.
crop is awkward. So let's try this. There we go.
That looks better. I have to say in your defense that I don't have an easy surname, so we can get to that. But before that, as the slide was saying, I'm joining from the Google Pay team, the developer relations team from Google Pay. I'm super happy and excited to be the first guest. Hopefully, this is something that I can brag about in the future. I think I'll be able to.
Yeah, if this ever gets to a stance where people are bragging about it, then something has gone right with the Observable Flutter show.
I'm
Um,
hopeful.
so Jose, uh, do you maybe want to kick us off here with just, I think a lot of developers, a lot of people in the world have, they're aware of Google Pay, but maybe don't know exactly what role it serves, especially if you were coming at it from the direction of a developer who's going to put it in your app. So maybe you just kind of orient us around how we should think about Google Pay and what problems it solves from a developer's perspective.
So, put very simply, Google Pay is a product that Google builds to collect payments online. That includes Android applications and websites as well. There's sometimes this gets confused with the billing options in Google Play billing because if I'm coming from a developer world and I'm used to probably offering premium features for my app through Google Play billing, I might be confused. So just like to separate the two, they are different products. You will want to use Google Play billing if you have an Android app on the Google Play Store and you are selling digital goods like lives, stars, or features of your app. If you're selling elsewhere, so if you're selling physical services or physical goods like e-commerce, maybe food delivery, sharing economy, you can use Google Pay for that. Anything that you are using a credit card for, you can replace that with, or you can add, not replace Google Pay. What Google Pay brings is it offers merchants or businesses the ability to have their customers pay with the cards that are already saved in Google Pay. So the experience is just like much more seamless. It's a one-click experience if you're logged in already. So that's the main difference.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not in-app purchases. This is e-commerce kind of purchases. And I always love when a website pops up Google Pay. I'm like, great, I don't have to go grab my wallet. But
Right.
the Flutter way would not be to only focus on Google Pay because Flutter doesn't only focus on Android and websites. So the integration that your team, and I see, you are a prolific contributor to the integration. It is more broad than just Google Pay, right?
Yeah, so the objective really is to enable multiple payment providers, especially those that are more commonly used on certain platforms. So we started with Google Pay on Android, and then Apple Pay on iOS, because those are the ones which are most frequently used. But our vision for the plugin is such that other contributors, including ourselves, can add payment providers that they think they would like to see there. So the whole point of it is have a plugin without making it too convoluted, that has payment providers that you may want to use in your Flutter application. And that may include, obviously, web going forward. That's something that is not supported at the moment. But that's the idea.
Hmm. Okay, nice. Um, yeah, a lot of plugins are kind of working on their web coverage.
Mhm.
So nice to know that that's on
We,
the roadmap.
we are thinking about it.
Thinking about it, thinking about putting it on the roadmap. Gotcha.
Fake. No, well, it's yeah. Well, to be in fact, let's put it in a different way. It's an
Hmm.
open source project, so we have a plan for it, but we would also love to see this project, evolved into something that the community is also engaged in. We already see a good amount of engagement from the community, but let me just reiterate and voice it from here that hey, it's an open project, and we'll love to hear thoughts, ideas, and but also contributions for sure.
All right. So I think I'm going to start by just showing, very concretely what we're talking about here, which is pub.dev packages pay. So this is what we're going to be working with today, right?
Yeah, that's precisely it. Yeah, that's the package.
Yeah. So folks will be kind of going through all of this. We're gonna set this up. We're gonna actually build out a payment thing and click something and I'm not gonna spend any money, but I think we're gonna see some kind of mock uh, something happen, and I'm excited about that. I don't know. I have read through this documentation, but I have not played with it because I want to be able to bring kind of the perspective of the new developer to this conversation. Jose is bringing the expertise. Now, Jose, we got a couple questions about GPay and whatnot, and specifically in India. Do you want to take a second and kind of cover a few of these?
Yeah, so just very briefly, UPI is a payment system that is only, as far as I know, is only available in India. It's part of the country itself. Google Pay has certain features that are operational there. The product that we are going to concentrate on today, the Google Pay API, is not part of that. So this doesn't cover UPI. This covers online payments that go through payments processor. So if you worldwide really, so if you're using a payment processor that supports Google Pay, that means you can use this API. But that wouldn't cover UPI.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And then there was a name. This was tripping me up as well. Would you mind clarifying the actual spelling and how to write the name, what you like to be called?
Yeah. So the name is, in fact, we got it slightly off in the title. It is Google Pay actually. GPay is not a name that we use in the public. So that's something that it will be easier for you to find it if you use Google Pay and the Google Pay API. Probably you saw on Google I/O this year that now we are differentiating between Google Wallet and Google Pay. So hopefully that makes it easier. Google Pay is everything related to payments, as the name indicates, whereas Google Wallet is the, let's say, the virtual wallet that you have on your device, where you can have cards, where you can have
Hmm.
passes, where you can have boarding tickets, and so on and so forth. Today, it will be about Google Pay and its online API. So collecting payments on mobile apps and the web.
Yeah, gotcha. I think that that typo in the show title just came from me because the Flutter team works with the Google Pay team a lot to help that app be performant and whatnot. And like you said, GPay is the internal name, and so I've heard that 1,000 times and just had lost track of the fact that it wasn't the full name. It wasn't
Yeah,
until you flagged it that I even had any idea. So that was on me, folks.
we're going to have
Okay.
many more opportunities to fix it in future episodes with Google Pay, right, Craig? Is that something that could happen?
It sure could. And we can start by me only saying Google Pay from here on out and not continuing to say the other name.
That works.
So, Jose, do you think we are ready to begin?
Let's do it. If you're ready, then I'm ready. I'm taking more of
Okay.
a laid back approach, which I enjoy.
Yeah. So let me hide some of these previous things. Oh, this goes back quite a ways. Um, I do pay for Post-to-Go on my personal machine, folks, but I won't right now. So let me grab a terminal here. And well, that's an odd. Look at this aspect ratio it just popped in with. Wow. Thank
Interesting.
you. Yeah. Uh, go into my development folder. Right. Yes. Oh my goodness. Got cold fingers this morning. It's winter time. I'll increase my font size after all these typos. And what should we call our app that we're going to build?
Let's just call it. Do you have a personal app where you're selling something, Craig?
I don't currently. Should I
Okay,
quickly
so
found a business?
yeah, so why don't we call it Craig's Corner? It sounds very
Oh,
appealing to me.
all right. Craig's Corner. Nice.
I wanna
See,
buy
I was
things
going to
there
call it
already.
something terrible like payments.
Hmm.
But Craig's Corner is a lot more exciting. All right. Here we go. So let's hide this. Go full screen. Let's open the main file, main.dart, and make sure our font is big enough. I think we're going to go this big. Make sure everyone can read it. Okay. So I presume the first thing that I need to do is install the Pay plugin. Is that right?
That sounds like a great idea, yeah.
I've never seen pubspec.yaml this in my face. This is really something. Let's add a dependency of pay. Well, the autocomplete on that is so fast. I don't think there was time for a network request. I wonder if that extension periodically caches all of the names locally. It
So
must.
just
That's
following up
so
on a
fast.
couple of questions. Sorry to interrupt. Google Pay is at the moment only available on for Android devices. On iOS, Google Pay is not available at the moment. Why is that? It's I think it's a bit more complicated to answer. But basically, this is online based, so technically, it's something that could be doable. I think it has a bit more of a background really, starting with very likely Apple iOS users will be more um, probably prepared already to pay with Apple Pay. It's definitely something that has to do with usage in the end, but I wouldn't be able to give you the full answer because I don't have it.
Yeah, and it seems vaguely reasonable to me. Right, Apple also has the requirement that any app that offers a different payment method must include Apple Pay as well. So it would technically be possible for GPay to show up in an iOS app, but Apple Pay must exist. So anyone with an iPhone probably has Apple Pay set up. So yeah, I can absolutely imagine that there's a little bit of diminishing value there.
Hmm.
All right. Any other questions that you've seen that you want to cover real quick?
Anything that I see where in the new app, or do you mean
Oh,
referring to the library?
one person, by the way, says that your volume is a little loud, Jose. Would you mind?
Huh.
Yeah, maybe just kind of chop 20% off the top.
Let me try.
Thanks for that,
Otherwise,
Kenneth.
I can start speaking very softly. Let
That's
me
the
try.
old-fashioned way to do it. Yeah, you actually just reduce your vocal cords. Messed up.
Sound
Did not do it
settings,
with technology.
input volume.
Yeah, thank you, Kenneth, for that feedback. We obviously are not listening to ourselves right now. All right, I'm scanning the other questions. Oh, Rinzin asks, is this part of the full stack Dart series or a new format? Full stack Dart is, I think, going to be basically a permanent mainstay on this show, but it won't ever be the only topic we cover. So there will be regular detours into lots of other aspects of Flutter development. Like today, the first one. Also, I should say this was originally going to be a boring show episode back in the summer. Jose is in Spain. I am in California, and it is difficult to get two people from those locations into the same room. So we kept having scheduling issues, and finally, when I was starting a live stream, I was like, Jose, I think I can stop canceling on you if we just meet digitally. So this was many months in the making. Jose pitched this forever ago.
We really tried. We have to say that we really tried. It didn't work, and I'm super happy that we are going for this new format. We are the newest kids in the block.
That's right. Okay, so any thoughts on where we should start? I guess I can just pull up the documentation again. What do you think?
Yeah, so that's a great way to start. I'll say there's two potential integration paths. If you recommend most developers to just go ahead and use the basic one, which is you'll basically add a button, which is a widget, and it's similar to any other widget in Flutter. You add some configuration, and you'll be good to go. That's what you're showing right there, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
For most of you, that's going to be okay. If you have a more complex or dedicated integration, there's another more customized path. It requires a bit more coding, but it gives you a lot of freedom. I think probably as much freedom as you would need. So we have these two options because there's not every payment flow is the same. But I'd say why don't we start with the basic one and see how we do, just like to warm up.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have one question that I was just curious about on my own. So we can, as I was reading the documentation previously, but we see here that there's reference to these configuration assets, and they're dedicated JSON files. And they're mentioned up here in the docs where it says, take a look at some of the examples, blah, blah, blah. And so I'll just click over to that real quick. And we see that they're in the assets folder, and they're just hard coded JSON files that indicate all kinds of things like, shipping methods and whatnot. And my first reaction when I saw this was, does this mean I'm going to have to ship a new value, or a new version of my app to respond to kind of on the ground business changes that might happen? The pricing change of shipping could fluctuate, and now all of a sudden I have to release a new version of my app. And I'm wondering, when you mention that other pathway that has, involves more coding, but basically opens up the full universe of flexibility, is this one of the areas of flexibility that you get where you maybe have some more dynamic configuration?
Not
I'm really
quite.
putting you on the
We want
spot
to
here.
have that. We want to have no. That's what we should do the whole time. I'll definitely I'll definitely be generous with you as well. No, this flexibility is something we want to bring for every integration approach. In fact, we right now have the file, the JSON file that you're showing. You can still change things because the display items, so the items where you set the things that you're purchasing and the price, that's still dynamic. But there's one
Mm,
pull request that is going to be merged shortly. Probably by the time, if you're watching live, maybe not now, but if you're watching this later on YouTube, probably by this time it will be already merged. That gives you the possibility to not use files, but use strings directly. So you can form that string in whichever way it's convenient to you. And then you
mm.
can receive it from your server, for example, if you have multiple configurations, and then you can fit them into the widget, and that'll be it. And we plan to have that for both integration paths, just to give you that flexibility, which we think is necessary, to be honest.
Yep, I agree. It also feels necessary to me. And just to fully close the loop on what you're saying, this is also a string, of course, and he's just saying you can use strings, but this is a string to an asset that is then loaded in process. So you're talking about the raw data gets thrown in
Precisely.
here instead. Yeah. Yeah.
Precisely.
Nice.
Yeah, and one
Well,
thing that we'll consider as well is having actual typed classes with builders, so that you can, if you
oh,
want to build them strictly dynamically. We haven't done this yet because we don't see a big use case for that. Most of the times, that configuration is either preset or it's configured somewhere else, not in the app, because we're talking about payments, something that could change, as you pointed out. So we don't see a clear use case, but if that's something that the community talks about and they bring it up, that's something that we can do as well. We have been planning to do it, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for humoring me there. Where should I start? In the documentation, it also mentions creating these integrations with Apple or with Google, basically, registering your actual business and whatnot. Is that required for just to kind of see a hello world version of this working locally? Is this where I should begin?
Not required.
Great. Didn't want to do
99%
it.
sure, not required. So let's see if we can avoid it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Didn't want to do it. All right. So where should I start? I've done this so far. That's it.
Yeah. Then go ahead and you can go ahead and create. Well, that's a good example. You can go ahead and create the Google Pay button and Apple Pay buttons in your layout. Just place them where you feel they fit best and see what we see.
Okay. I'll just start with the Google Pay button. And you know what? I don't even know if I have an Android emulator running on my machine. We're about to find out. We're about to find out a lot of things, including why the dictionary pops up when you just try to highlight stuff.
Not bad.
Okay. Got this code. We're back into main.dart. Let's get rid of the terminal here. And, oh yeah, we've got to get rid of all the comments. The ceremonial beginning, the first
Nice.
maneuver of any new project.
That's a quick way. Ha, I like
Yep.
that approach. So
Yeah, get rid of.
Gustavo, we have a little note at the bottom stating that it is not an officially supported Google product. It's not a product, it's an open source project. So that's all that it means. We will still keep on contributing. So we, as much as we expect to see contributions from the community, we will still be active as much as we can. So it's just like a note that goes there for um, non-official products like open source projects.
Yeah. And so to make sure I fully am understanding here, this disclaimer is just about this package. I mean, Google Pay is obviously an officially supported Google product. It's just this Flutter package that is not an official Google product. Am I
Correct.
reading the room correctly there?
Yeah, and it's good that you pointed it out, especially since it involves integrations with other providers. As you can see, it's not only Google Pay there, and that's the way we wanted it to be. In fact,
Yeah.
like it shouldn't matter what we want it to be, because we want this to be something that is owned by the community, not Google Pay.
Oh yeah, simulator is what I want. When are you going to launch? There we go, simulator. I actually don't think I've installed an Android emulator on my computer, which is funny. I used to have one, and then I got a newer computer, and I just don't think I have since. So we're going to go the Apple route, which may surprise some folks. But that'll really show the power of the Pay package. It is not only for Google Pay. So I'm going to add this button to, we're just in the counter app here. Oh yeah, I got to save to format after the edit. We've got our center thing here. I guess we'll just kind of put it in this column. And of course we have to bring in, wow, I've never looked at my editor this big. It's really quite jarring. All right, so we need to give it our handler, our
Yep.
callback. Wow, and the tooltip is so aggressive. We owe it the callback and the actual things that are being purchased. Now this payment items parameter, this is presumably not my full inventory. Is this the user's cart essentially that they're buying?
Precisely. Yeah, that's
Okay,
precisely it.
it's their great. So I was also wondering about this status final price. Can you tell me a little bit about this parameter and the enum here that we're dealing with?
Yeah, so this is an area where multiple providers have different nomenclature, but it comes to say whether a price is already final or it may change. You may want to say that a price is changing for multiple reasons. For example, if let's say you're booking a car sharing ride, so you don't know ahead of time how much that's going to cost, so that price is not final. Or there might be charges in terms of taxing or shipping. So if the price is subject to change, you want to use those different values. Now, again, every provider uses a different set of values For now, we have found a good middle point between Google Pay and Apple Pay, but as we add more providers, that's something that may be subject to change, and maybe at some point become platform specific. We are trying to avoid it, but it's something that could happen.
Right, right. Yeah, I can imagine if you get different sets, like imperfectly overlapping sets of states that different providers offer. But okay, yeah, this makes sense here. Cool. So I'm going to return. We've got our payment items. We still don't have the handler. And I'm going to remind myself what the signature to that looks like. Oh, it takes a payment result object. Well, that's the
Which
variable
is
name. We'll see what the
basically the
object is in a
result
second.
of the payment. Yeah, you will see now.
So the type of this, oh, it's dynamic. What? This is surprising.
Yeah, that's the
Hover over
result.
this.
So that is
Oh, string
the
handler.
outcome of the payment selection that you have made on screen.
Dynamic. All right, so yeah, I think I'm just going to print this to start payment result so we can see what we're dealing with. Which of course means I could have literally written print right here. And in fact, that is what I will do because I love a good tear off. So for now, we are just going to print what we are returned. So what would happen right now if I run the app? Is it going to do something?
You will need, so what will happen is the button won't show. One property that these buttons have, the basic integration, is that if you cannot pay with that payment provider, the button hides automatically. And so since we haven't provided the configuration, it's gonna error there and then hide with, you can still like see the error on the, there's a callback with an error,
Okay.
but the widget will disappear.
Got it. Okay. Yes, as soon as I asked what would happen, I remembered, and then it was exactly what you launched into. Now, it's nice that you said the buttons hide. So does this mean I can just, in my code, I can just have both widgets sitting there and I don't need to actually check the platform? They'll hide themselves? Or do you still
Yeah.
think it's a best practice to check, if iOS and then conditionally show the Apple Pay button?
Yeah, there's different trains of thoughts for that. You probably have an opinion. Maybe there's a guidance from Flutter that I don't know about, but basically the basic way will do it for you. The customized way, then it's your duty there to take care of that. So it really depends on what your style is, how you're doing your application. Basically, both would be supported. If you want to
Got it.
have control over that, then you can go with the custom integration. If you're fine just dropping the buttons and have them do what they need to do, then you can go for the basic.
Got it. Okay. So I'm just, first of all, I've made my assets directory in the wrong directory, but I'll just call this Apple payments.json real quick. And then we're going to move this entire folder. I've copied in the exact raw data. Oh, thanks for the reformat VS Code. That's real nice. Okay, let's move this directory up to the root. And one thing I noticed, I was expecting to see these assets called out in the pubspec.yaml, and I don't think they were. What is going on with my terminal? Here we go. Well, let's move lib assets to just assets. There we go. Okay, now our folder is in the correct location, and this we simply called, what did we call it? Apple underscore payments.json. Apple
For example.
payments. Okay. Now, the pubspec.yaml that I was just talking about, when I looked at the examples, pubspec.yaml, so we'll go back to the example folder and pubspec, in the assets spot, it does actually. I just missed it. Okay, that's great. I'll also make this a little bigger so folks can see. Sorry. Assets, here we go. And where did this even go? Where did I read that? Oh, right in the Flutter directory, or the Flutter entry right here. So I'll put it here under assets. All right, I think that'll work. So it's building, and now it makes a lot more sense how that will be pulled in. Oh, you have an images directory. Are those images just for like the fake inventory? They're not related to the buttons.
We have a shop only with one item, that is a t-shirt. So that's the only one we sell in the sample app. We need an image for that, yeah.
I would buy this. That's
How many times? It's the only one item you have, so you have to buy it like multiple times.
again and again and again. Yeah, you get one of those like ultra utilitarian wardrobes where you, you just wear the same shirt every day, simply so you
Yeah,
can test your e-commerce app. I love it. Okay, are we now ready to run? Oh, this is interesting. This is maybe hanging. I think
let's
this is
see.
probably fake.
In the meantime, we keep on receiving questions. Thank you for them. AMG at 625. You do not need to have PC to be compliant with PCI DSS if you're integrating through a payment gateway, which is one of the ways in which you can use Google Pay with the gateway. If you're doing a direct integration, that is, if you are processing payments yourself, then you will need to be PCI DSS compliant. But that's no difference from your current payments approach.
I'm so glad you're here to answer those kinds of questions, Jose. I don't know the like legal things about payment accepting whatnot. Of course you do. Boy, you are. I love it.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right. Any
see.
other
Maybe next
questions?
time
Yeah.
we switch positions and I'm coding and you answer questions.
Okay. Yeah. Then I can just relax. Any other questions that you're seeing that you want to get to while this builds?
Let's see, the GPay source code. If you're talking about the source code for the plugin that we are working with, definitely you have it in GitHub. You can find it through the pub.dev link that Craig is using, and not only find it, but also hopefully contribute or leave your thoughts. For Google Pay, for the Google Pay product source code, we don't have source code um, to be shared for you
I can only presume they
at this
meant
point.
the package. That would be that's a bold. I admire that question if they were asking about the actual Google Pay source code.
You have to be holistic.
Right, right. Any other questions? While it is. Um, oh, apparently my volume is a little quiet, so I'm going to turn my gain up slightly, and we'll
Oh,
see
there's
if
a
that
question
helps.
that it's a bit better. There's a question that I missed. Matt Ubaid, are we also covering Stripe integration with Google Pay? We are going to cover the integration with, it will be PSP or payment gateway agnostic. That means that once you receive the payment result, then what you have to do is send that payment information to your gateway, whatever that is. Could be Stripe, could also be any other. Most PSPs do have libraries as well to let you send that to them, or alternatively, you can do it through your backend like you do today. When you receive a credit card, you send it to your PSP. Concretely for Stripe, they have a Flutter library as well, a Flutter plugin, and it's well integrated with Google Pay, or sorry, with the Pay plugin. So that means that once you get the payment result, you can use the Stripe plugin to send that information to the to Stripe, to the backend.
Let's go. Oh, interesting. So,
Ah,
we don't have by with anywhere in our code.
you should have a
Um,
width, I think, in the button.
Width. All right. So we'll start with that. And I'll just say 200 for now. Okay. Much wider. That worked.
Mhm.
How do I change by width? Function child on error. Wow. I am actually not seeing. Oh, nope. That ain't it either.
What are we looking
Huh.
for?
I was just wondering the by with text here. What if I wanted this to say checkout or
Oh,
something?
oh yeah. That's on. That's not modifiable as per, in this case, Apple Pays guidelines. Google Pays has also different types of buttons, but that's why you have it. That's why you have a type property. If you can see on line 70, so you have
Oh,
multiple types of buttons there, and that changes the label.
whoa, 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 whoa. All right. Hey, checkout. Literally what I
Yeah,
wanted.
checkout. Let's go for checkout.
And the answer is
Let's
why
see.
no rebuild. What's going on? Also, I'm going to try to make this. Oh, whoops. Um, see if we can get everything on the screen here. So, why didn't this rebuild? This still says buy with. We'll do a hot restart.
Let's try another one. Maybe that's the default. Oh,
Check out with. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if there's a little hot reload issue with the implementation of this bug or this button. Try again.
Maybe.
Check out, and we'll go back to let's say book. I'm curious what that one is. Yeah.
Ah.
I wonder if this is like a closure or something in there, because I know those don't get sliced over for hot reload.
Maybe keeping the state internally. Maybe we don't have stateful one internally. We'll have to
pay button is
take a look at that.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. All right, we can file that one away for further or for future investigation. Are we ready to click the button, Jose?
We can only try.
Indeed. Which one do I want? No, output, right? Let's see what we get.
Yeah.
Nothing so far. Oh, debug console. That's what I wanted. But still nothing. So what did you expect to happen? Should something have popped up?
Let me see. Can I take a look at the widget, the Apple Pay button widget?
Yeah.
The configuration is there, payment items. Yeah, it looks good. Payment result print. Oh, payment result is there. No, that actually looks good to me. Interesting. Is Apple Pay enabled on that device? Maybe that could be it.
Oh, that's a good question. So I'll go to the home screen. I have no idea how much of a headache it might be to enable this on a simulator. We might have to like sign in, which feels like a real hassle. I'd have to look up my Apple password.
Maybe.
Accessibility. Well, let's see what this says. Let's see if this kind of mentions it. Then we get to use. Oh, here is this kind of no. That's just Apple Wallet. I don't think that's also different from Apple Pay. I think I'm gonna have to sign in. So, do you think I should get? I'm probably gonna have the same issue on an Android emulator, aren't I? I think I might just bite the bullet and sign in, which I will of course involve not typing my password on the stream because it'll be my real Apple ID. Best not to broadcast that password to the whole world. I'm looking up that password right now in 1Password. Jose, do you want to take a few questions while I do this?
I was taking a look at that because I was expecting your password to be not very short. But let's not disclose any information about it. Okay. So as you well point out, Akshdesai, Google Pay in India works a bit differently, and right now it is not covered in the Google Pay API, the Google Pay API as a whole, including this library as well. Being UPI, as you know, a completely different method to do real-time payments, which is, by the way, a great system. But again, Google Pay API will be applicable if you're using a payment gateway like Stripe or Braintree, Adyen. Any payment gateway that is supported, you can use it with Google Pay. In fact, I do believe that this is a payment collection mechanism that is also available in India. So if you're doing it through UPI, you can use the API, but if you're using a PSP, then you can use the Google Pay API as well. Let me see, what else do we have? I'm trying to concentrate on questions that I can answer.
That seems like a
screen
good
share.
filter.
Flutter Web. Yeah, hi Limatech. This is a question from a bit some time ago, so hopefully you're still with us. We have a web integration in our pipeline. Also, the Flutter team is very passionate about reminding us of the importance of including web, which is something that we appreciate. For the time being, it's not under development, but that's something that we will consider for next year. But once again, remember that this is an open source project. So there's a big discussion open in GitHub about this. So one option is that we have contributions from from a group of external contributors as well to this repo. Doesn't have to be like one or two. We can share a bit the effort together, and that certainly will speed up things. But yeah, any thoughts, any feedback? There's a discussion about web in GitHub, and at the same time, we are also looking into it ourselves. So hopefully, we can get to it next year. It will help a lot to hear your use cases about that as well. By the way, if you can use the comments for that, we see a very solid use case for using Google Pay on Android. We do support web as well, but we have seen less interest than on Android from the Flutter community. So that's something that we'll love to hear about if you have different thoughts.
All right. I suspected I might be hitting a dead end, so I started to read the live chat. And Karan, developer Karan, tells us that we have to use a real device for this. Is this something that you've encountered, Jose, when you've been testing this?
You can definitely use a simulator. I do have mine set up, but I do believe I'm logged in. It's been a while since I haven't used it, but I'm logged in with my device, and that works fine. You can test your Apple Pay integration. As you can imagine, I've tested Google Pay a bit more than Apple Pay, but as far as I can remember, yeah, that should work.
So you think I should be able to do what I'm trying to do right now?
I think so, yeah.
Now, the same person also says we have to add I think they meant sandbox ID. Does this ring a bell for what you might have done?
I don't think that's necessary, no.
Okay. Karan, I very much appreciate the ideas. Hey, John Franco's here. Yesterday on, or at least was here 4 minutes ago. Yesterday was on Hump Day Q&A, offering a lot of great intel. So I don't want to just spend forever here trying to get this set up, but we seem to be blocked on having it set up.
So
that
were
is
you
something of a
able to
constraint.
log in your Apple account, Apple ID?
I'm logged in, yeah. My wife and
Okay,
I here, like all the real things.
still the button doesn't show?
Oh, you know what? I haven't. I assumed I was going to have to activate something here, but no. Let's go back to the app. That could be
Yeah,
what's up.
try.
All right, we're in the corner. Clicking, nothing. But let's restart. Clicking, nothing. Fooey.
Yeah, that should
So this
trigger
is,
the payment sheet opening up from the bottom. So it's something related to the device or your account. Let me see if I
yeah.
have cards on my device.
Yeah, I'm looking at my real phone now to see where does Apple Pay show up. Oh, there's Wallet and Apple Pay is a thing in settings. Did I see that here? It's underneath the App Store. No.
Does Apple Pay need to be enabled maybe in that device?
So on my real phone, under this section with general accessibility and privacy and security, then there's an App Store and Wallet and Apple Pay section before passwords. It's right in here, and it just isn't showing up on the emulator. I'm going to read the real chat again. Try this once. iOS simulator features authorize Apple Pay. Okay, like that. iOS simulator. I think they might mean. I'm trying to figure out what that first. Oh, features. I see it now. Features. Okay. Authorize Apple Pay is grayed out.
Huh, let's see.
Well, no, it's not grayed out. Maybe just the keyboard shortcut was grayed out. This is an excellent idea.
It is indeed.
So I don't, yeah, it's hard to tell whether or not this has worked. I mean, I clicked it.
I think we're missing also the integration requirements on potentially on the project. We may need to enable Apple Pay. I bet that was already enabled, but we can check on the XC workspace to see if Apple Pay is enabled there. Do you have Xcode over there?
Yeah, oh, I can. Now, I didn't start from the sample. So if that's part of the thing, let's make notes on
Yeah.
all. these are all great bits of documentation that we should add to the package. So I'm going to just open the directory. Oh,
Yeah, so that's in the requirements, in the pre-section on the README, you have a link to the Google Pay and Apple Pay requirements. Those that we jumped before, because I said that we can skip them. Okay, we can skip the consoles, but there are some requirements that we cannot skip. So, but I think it was just that one. So let's see. Yeah, that first step on
this
Apple
one,
Pay.
integration
Yeah,
requirements.
yeah, I think that's it.
I see.
Especially that one, enable
Didn't look at
Apple
any
Pay
of this.
capability.
In Xcode. Oh, okay. After creating a merchant identifier, so we're still skipping that, and hopefully that'll work. But we obviously will have to enable Apple Pay. So open the project, select the project, choose the target. All right, we're going to do this one at a time. Here we go. Yeah. We've got the target. Next, choose the target from the app and the pop-up thing. Okay, so I think I did that. Signing and capabilities. Great.
Yeah,
in the toolbar, click the library plus button. Oh, wait, where's that? Oh, do the right team. That could help. What did it say here? In the toolbar, click the library button to open the capabilities library. Where's this plus button? It didn't make a provisioning profile. That seems like maybe a... Oh, here we go. Capabilities. Okay, pay. Why no do? What?
I think I see Apple Pay there.
Well, that's good. It makes one of us. Where do you see it?
But you don't.
Oh, on your Xcode you see it.
Yeah, my Xcode.
Goodness gracious. All right. At what point should we pull the plug and do this in an Android simulator? Also, are we going to have all of the exact same headaches in an Android simulator?
No, give me 20 seconds.
All right, I'm
maybe 1 minute
up as well. Xcode enable Apple Pay on iPhone.
Well, I have way more items.
That's not even remotely what I typed. Apple Pay iOS
simulator. Why don't you try with Wallet?
Developer account, Ray says. I have that. I definitely
used to be
developer account.
It used to be Apple Pay before. Maybe it's Wallet now. Why don't you try with Wallet and the capabilities?
Okay. Returning to Xcode.
Yep.
Capabilities. Wallet.
Try Wallet.
I don't see it.
You don't see that either? Huh.
Nothing. Why?
Interesting.
What a miserable thing.
Mm.
Also, just the capability whole plus here is grayed out.
A little bit.
I wonder if this has anything to do, I wonder if it's only willing to do those with a successful provisioning profile. I've never actually seen this fail before, but I'm also wondering if, like on my personal machine, this would pass.
Right.
Well, I really suspect it would pass on my personal machine, but I don't know what I'm missing on this machine.
It could be that, yeah. But I think we can enable it there. I believe we won't be able to see it working.
Okay. Should we switch over to an Android emulator, do you think?
Let's try that.
Okay. So I'm going to need to, first of all, let's kill you. Thank you for your service. And create an Android emulator. That's what I want to do. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think I've done any of this since getting my upgraded work computer. AVD manager is missing from the Android SDK.
Do you have UnderStudio over there?
I thought I did. I know I did on my old computer. Nope. We're really starting from scratch here.
Let's do it. Yeah, Hamza, I'm standing because otherwise I get too relaxed, and I can move around as well. Hopefully that's not bothering you. Craig is definitely much more static. Yeah, that standing desk that has a manual mechanism. So every time I want to put it up or down, I have to roll a little knob for a while, but then after a few seconds I'm there with it.
That's pretty hardcore.
It's not bad, but I couldn't justify to myself the automatic one. I changed the height of the table only a few times per year.
Mm. So you stand a lot.
Yeah, especially for calls. And it's kind of one of those like treadmills that people do. Although I haven't been able to concentrate, I don't think I'll be able to concentrate if I walk and type at the same time. That must be very hard.
Yeah, I've heard that takes a lot of getting used to. I did have a
I
coworker
can
that
imagine
tried it.
that.
He could only walk. Yeah, he had a very specific. It was back when I was at Zapier, great company by the way. He would. He was very precise about the exact speed that if he went above that speed, he would lose all focus. All right, we're not importing any settings. Oh, this is all happening on the wrong window. Let's bring this over. Yeah. Next. I can't click any buttons other than presumably cancel.
Do
Oh,
you
the
have
wizard
next?
is send usage statistics to Google. There we go. Okay, standard. Yep. Next.
Yeah.
Sure, let's start with light mode. I mean, dark mode. Sure, install the things. I'm going to need the emulator, probably the build tools. I'm going to need the platform. I'm going to need all those things. I'm going to need the
So
system
while you
image.
entertain yourself with the installation of Android Studio, I have a question for you, Craig. Well, actually, Tech has that question, and they're curious about whether you're using a virtual background, or is that your real
Oh.
room?
No, there's no plant here. Also, my
Uh,
hand doesn't actually cease to exist when I go too far to the right. So, keen eye, it is a virtual background. I have a green screen behind me and a bunch of lights in front to light up the green screen so I don't cast a big shadow on it. And why isn't this letting me do it? I can't press any of the buttons.
accept. You have to accept all of them. That one as well. Yeah.
Oh, there's more. I see.
Yeah.
Come on.
Train of
Yep. Got.
thought. I've been using M1 for about a year now, and I was expecting some bumps on the road, but I have to say that I haven't. Probably experienced any, maybe only a couple of them. Even with things like Docker, it's been pretty smooth. So I don't foresee you having issues developing Flutter with an M1. I actually expect the opposite. That is that works fine for you.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues. Every now and then you'll run into a weird one. Like the gRPC package for Python had like they had not released the correct universal binary for
Mm.
a one version of Python. So it was like on a project that I had, I couldn't update to the latest. I had to stay on like Python 3.9 instead of 3.10 or something for a long time because the gRPC thing just wouldn't compile. So you'll run into these like really random gotchas, but in general, it's all quite ironed out at this point and quite smooth. Also, I am taxing my laptop absolutely to the max right now. I've got OBS running, streaming, got like video calls going, and my old Intel Mac could have, you know, heated the planet if I tried to do that. Um, and on the M1 Mac that I'm using now, the fan's not even on. It's like cool to the touch, honestly. It's not above room temperature. So it is just unreal how powerful they are and how efficient they are with that power. All right.
Cool.
So we've
If you
done this.
can
We're not
get to
making
the
it.
SDK, so
Yeah, we
that on
want
the
to.
menu on the top for Android Studio, you should be able to see the simulator. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
well, this is
that's still
still.
missing.
All right. Yeah. So what? Presumably, Android Studio is the correct place to walk through setting this up, right?
Yeah. Do you
Um,
have? Can you see the menu at the top? I cannot see it on the live stream. The menu for Android Studio.
oh, it's very limited. It just says Android Studio File and Help.
Okay. That one.
But that might be because I need to get into a project. So I think I'm just going to make an empty project real quick. Basic activity, I guess. Oh, I'll make one with GPay. Woohoo!
Yeah,
That might save
that's a
some time.
fantastic idea.
And sure do love all this.
Yeah, that looks okay.
Finish.
Okay, so now at the top right, we can
Finish.
access the simulator from there and see what's missing and install it.
All right, we're in
All
Android
right,
Studio.
so you have that little icon next to the elephant on the right side, or device manager. That works too, yeah.
All right.
Oh, you have a
Yeah,
device.
this seems familiar. I knew I had on my old one. I don't know how it got migrated over. Let's see if it runs. If it does, then yeah, Kotlin IDE errors occurred. Are we running the device? Okay, it says it's connecting to the emulator. Sure, use whatever you want. Eavesdrop on me. Imagine if emulators had that capability. That would be the most devious thing in the world. It would also be deduced in like a minute. Wow, the emulator is running tucked into this corner.
Yeah, you can make it come
Gotta
out,
pop it out.
or make that window a bit bigger with the. So
Yeah,
if
how do I pop it
you
out? I think that's what I want to do, but I'm not.
minimize, or at least you can minimize the window above in the device manager. You can make that small,
Oh, okay. All right.
and then your device will be big.
Now,
There's
is
definitely a way
this?
to get it out.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Oh, that wasn't it. Full screen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing how to do it. Maybe right clicking is not doing anything. These buttons don't seem to do anything. This is not it. Showing maps and whatnot. I don't see payment here, so we'll see. All right, I've got an emulator running. Even though this is tucked into Android Studio, do you think we're going to see it from...
You should be able to see it.
Yeah, I was hoping it would just kind of show up here.
Yeah,
Let's
it should show.
reload this. How do you even reload VS Code? I'm blanking on this.
We need to reopen it again. But I wonder why you don't see the SDK in there. Maybe it's your Flutter path to your Flutter config to the Android SDK is not properly set.
Flutter config.
One of those things that you do once 10 years ago and you don't have to
Never
do
do
them
it
again.
again. Right, and then you get a new computer and you have to do it again, but you don't realize till you're on a live stream. One of those things.
That's how it happens.
So, do you remember how to just kind of restart VS Code? I guess I can also, I've never used Android Studio, honestly, but I could try to use the Flutter project from here.
You
Do
could.
you
I think it's
use
going to be
Android Studio
easier.
or VS Code?
Or you can. Why don't you use the Flutter command line to take a look at the devices? Isn't there like,
Okay.
I recall it was like some Flutter devices, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it does exist. Or just Flutter devices. List all connected devices. By the way, Jose, feel free to keep your eye on the live chat to see if anyone is
Okay, so it shows there.
answer
So
at us here.
you
Right,
have it there.
So it's just the VS Code thing. So I guess we can just
So you
run.
you can try Flutter run.
Oh, but also let's put in the Google Pay button now instead.
That would be a good idea.
Go back. Let's go to packages.
True, you could have the Flutter. Do you know if we have the Flutter plugin? Do you get this laptop from the box right now out, Craig? You can tell us.
No, I've had it for some time,
Okay.
but I've never used Android Studio, as we all saw. I just had to download it. All right, on Google Pay result, we're still just going to put print, and then gotta grab the other asset. So let's do that real quick. Let's grab the Google asset. Get the raw.
Yeah, we may need the Flutter plugin for VS Code if we don't have it yet.
Oh, the Flutter plugin for VS Code? Yeah, I have that.
Yeah. Oh, you have that.
So
you have it because you can see the play button. Yeah.
New file. There we go. Google Pay, and we'll call this Put it in the assets folder, Google Payments. There we go.
So Lalit Kumar, you can integrate in-app payments
Right.
on Apple Pay with a plugin. I believe there's a plugin for that. This payments plugin is for, if you remember at the beginning, we mentioned that this is for physical payments. So anything that is outside of the scope of the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. I cannot talk about the App Store guidelines, but the Google Play ones will be constrained to digital assets. So if you're doing digital assets, you can use a plugin for in-app payments in pub.dev to do that. For the pay plugin, we'll be able to do physical payments. So remember things like e-commerce, clothing, tools, some physical services like gym membership, food delivery, and things like that.
One quick thought for you, Jose. When you bump your table, we hear that loud and clear.
I'm bumping it all the time since I'm standing.
It
Thank you.
just was more pronounced for me. All right, we are building to the
Good.
device, which
Progress.
we may only see launch here. That will be really quite an adventure, but we'll find out. All right, I'm gonna look at some questions as well, see if we have any unrelated to this. Waiting for Material 3 update for GPay. Will it come soon? Do you know what they mean by this? This question was from almost an hour ago.
So the Google Pay button has its own style guidelines and its own design that will come with the plugin. So you don't have to worry about that. Whether we keep that consistent with the Material 3 style, I'm sure that's something that that the team is trying. But for the purpose of this plugin, you can simply go with the design that are provided to make it easier for you. That's assembling. Yeah, I love the restart tips that we are getting. This is so many times useful.
Oh,
So
to see the
thanks
thing.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I was just blanking on how to restart the IDE. I thought it was like there is a way to kind of restart it in place, right? What am I
I see.
blanking on for VS Code?
I didn't know about it. If there's a way, I always like I may have been doing it wrong for ages now, but I always close it and open it
Oh,
again.
great.
I know Android Studio has one way to restart, but I didn't know that was a thing in VS Code.
Higher Android SDK version, of course. So we need to set our. Do you know what the
Yeah,
version we want to set is?
yeah. Try 21
21. Okay.
is
Wait, what do we have set?
if you search Min SDK, yeah. Well, do
Let
hardcode
me
it for
see.
now.
21, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All
yeah,
right.
can we start with
We'll run
Command
the whole
Shift
thing
P? Reload the window. That's what you wanted probably.
Oh,
That's it.
thank you. I
I
had
had
some
no
muscle
idea.
memory of typing reload, and I just was suddenly blanking on where I would type that. 10 points to House Gryffindor, or whatever house the person who said that wants them forwarded to. Hey, and it sees the emulator. Can you believe it? So I'm going to just try to click run up here. Start debugging is what I always press. Aha. All
All
right.
right.
It's thinking. Can you believe it? All right, I'm also scanning. I need to set the path to Android tools in your shell file. Oh, someone's pointing out further setup for this. Now, we might have it working at this point, but thank you, Kashan. I appreciate that. Hey, Felix. How you doing? We are just running in place over here today, Felix. Doing a lot of setup. It's been
It's not bad for a new
times.
laptop and a 1 hour integration.
New-ish. I think I got it in October. All right, let's see here. So
that must be running already.
I think so. So is it? It is. Okay. So I'm going to click the button.
Are you nervous?
Requires a Google account on this device.
Aha. Yep.
Progress.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me sign into Google on this device.
And don't worry, your users of your apps, they will have that already set up on their device. They will have a Google account already set up. So don't worry. This is just like a Craig and Jose problem.
Here's an exciting thing. The normal sidebar Chrome for the emulator. How do I start doing this? Where do I go? Well, maybe I go here. Is this gonna... I don't want a screenshot. Oh, back. That should... Is this where I go?
Yeah, no, that's yeah, any of those would work. So if you pull,
Do I go to settings?
That's fine. And then accounts, something that should be searchable.
A pixel myself, but again, I've only signed in once ever. So
try accounts.
Not a very snappy experience on this emulator, I gotta say.
No, yeah.
Woo! And by not snappy, I mean unusable. Wow, can't do anything. Oh, do I have to literally type here? Also,
you could, if you
input?
You have to select. Yeah, the input is not selected. Let's see if we can select the settings. Yeah, like emulators now are very quick.
Non-responsive.
That's something from 2012 at max.
Yep.
This is a Pixel 3a API.
So I wouldn't mind. Can I turn this off? And let's try to launch it from VS Code, because that might launch it outside of whatever embedded
universe. That will launch it outside, yeah.
Right, yeah. It certainly won't fire it up in here again.
It looks like you have the Android SDK now, so you can try.
Stop. Yep, I do. So we're going to go back to this Pixel. Here we go. Sure. Aha. This is the UI I'm used to, which allows for, actually, those were the same buttons they were showing. Now maybe in here, can I do account things? No.
This is just for mocking and configuring the device and mocking some information.
Someone says, check if you have Google Pay. Well, I did create this. Oh, no, that was that project I made that we're not using anymore. We will have to check if we have Google Pay on this device once it boots.
The simulator seems really slow. So why don't you try a new simulator, because this image is what 33. It's rather new and it's ARM64, so you should be fine. But maybe you can try creating a new one. Maybe this one is filled with you got it there. So okay.
It wants to record audio.
No.
Sure. While we're using the app, go away, please. All right. So this should tell us we need an account again, right? So now we're back to doing account things. Okay, here we go. Click the thing. It may work.
That works now.
It's working a lot better.
Yeah.
Typing account.
There you go.
I clicked Google Assistant. I'm not sure if
that
this
works.
was correct or not. This is
that works.
Direction I should follow. Okay.
If you sign into that account, it will sign into other accounts as well.
Luckily, I have one password to access all of my passwords.
Christie codes. This is the life of a developer most of the time. More setup and less coding. And I think that's partially the purpose of this, right, Craig? To illustrate a real integration process.
Yep. We're carrying the torch forward of the boring show, which was Philip's old creation. For those who've been around Flutter for a while, Philip Rashik left Google about 1.5 years ago, but he was the original creator. It was his idea to have the boring show, to just show developers, from the Flutter team, not knowing what they were doing, getting stuck. And we are certainly living that energy today. All right, I'm signing in off screen. I have to say, this emulator is still incredibly slow. I don't know if it's because it's realistically provisioning Pixel 3 like memory and whatnot. It's not snappy. Anyway, finding my password. Carry on, Jose.
Yeah. So lots of great tips over here. Thank you for that, and thank you for the support. I'm glad to hear that this type of setups are useful to you. It's definitely some config, but those are the kind of things that you do once, and during your development process, it's only just like the new parts that you have to configure again. So, but it's great to see the support coming from your end and the empathy as well. Glad that you can see reflected.
All right, I'm signing in. I've completed the two-factor. It
That's
wants
very
me
quick for a
to.
two-factor. I
Yeah,
believe
with the
that's
Google
just the
app.
only thing that we need, just
Yeah.
the signing in, and that'll be it.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm in. Oh, sorry, I wasn't saying that to you. I was saying it to all these pop-ups. I love what you were saying, Jose. All right, switching back over now that I'm not typing my password. Hello,
Good.
Greg. Hello there.
All right.
Hello, John. Hello, John. Little Jurassic Park for you. Oh my goodness. I wish there was a mode that was like, this is fake.
Dev mode, yeah.
This is not a real phone that I will be using for the rest of my life.
The I don't care mode, the developer mode. Yeah, there's some form of developer mode. It could be useful there for account creation as well.
Man, I can't believe how slow this emulator is. Every click is just like, I'll take that under advisement. We can even see here, look at the frame rate. Those were not dropped frames on the stream of the spinner. It was just struggling. Now it's working, but it was just struggling to spin the spinner. All right, do we have any other exciting questions?
Just saying that it's so useful to, well, try again. It's so useful to have that help coming from a few
Oh, it's
dozen,
trying to
hundreds
connect
of
to
developers.
Assistant. I don't care about Assistant. I just want to be
Are you
signed in,
good?
which I think I am. So I'm not worried about Assistant. Yeah.
You might be.
This should be good. Hopefully it shows me here in accounts. This would mean that we're in. Yeah, we're in. All right. Don't care about Assistant. Go away. Go back. Home.
It must be something with the configuration devices. These
Yeah,
days, simulators are very quick.
Yeah, something's not right. All right, start debugging.
There we go. I think this is the one, Craig.
We're going to see
This
something
is it.
print. It's going to happen.
This is it, I think. So the loading widget, Kenneth, you can, with this plugin at least, we have given you a little property in the Google Pay widget that allows you to send any type of widget that shows while the button is loading. So we have a basic loading indicator, but you can have anything you want there. It's just basically a widget. So you can configure that the way you want. As the property you can see right now on the screen called loading indicator. We have a circular progress indicator, but you can add there whatever you find convenient.
Yep, and you
We
can
thought
add
that was like
anywhere.
an easy way. Yeah.
Okay, I clicked it.
I think it didn't catch it. No, it caught it. But the simulator is gone now from screen. Oh, it's behind the.
Oh,
the
yeah. Oh, it's thinking.
Yes.
It did not immediately reject our attempt. So, great.
On a connection that allows us to see all the different colors in the Google spinner. Then yellow again, and then green. All of them fast connection to the internet.
I wonder how they picked those colors.
Can't guess.
All right. Oh, it has my old address still. The app is currently running in a test environment. Transaction will not result in an actual charge. Great. Strongly preferred.
Also,
Also,
that's why it's in red.
Nice DX there, yeah.
That text was changed 2 weeks ago, and it's more descriptive now. Hopefully that's the case.
Nice. Okay. And it crashed.
Wait for it.
All right, let's find. exception, main, failure delivering result, activity, more.
I think this is the result of your simulator. Pretty sure. I think you click the button twice, and two intents
Okay.
were probably coming back.
All right.
Give it another go.
In theory, it would cease to accept taps after the first one. Looking at the live. Ah, yes. Julian or Julian says, oof. And I feel you. But maybe 12th time's the charm, as they say. That is what they say, right? Okay. I'm going to click it, but one time. I've clicked it. I saw a line appear here.
Yeah.
And we switch back, and we have a sheet. And it thinks. And it gives us the screen. So we click continue. But once. And it's
very much so.
I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to crash.
I don't think so.
Because.
Take a bet.
All right. I bet you this is when it crashed before. After it stopped spinning, it went back to this. I never decided I never said what I was going to bet you, but where did it print?
Whatever that was that you were going to bet, it's coming my way.
I was going to say a drink when I see you next, which will also be the first time we ever see each other. So it's
a very easy bet.
Didn't print. But it also didn't crash.
Yeah, let's we can try debugging to make sure that print is doing the right thing. Print.
Yeah, so
Apple Pay. No, that's fine.
Yeah, same signature. So even though the name isn't the same, where's print? Here we go. All right. Here we are. Hot restart, because anonymous functions don't behave how you might want them to in hot reload all the time. So we've got to be cautious there. All right, I'm going to clear this. Now I'm going to click the button.
So the JSON file should be fine, Alpha Radium. Thanks for the tip. If the JSON file is not right, you will get an error back. And this screen that you're seeing right now won't load.
Yeah, so I did switch us to the sample as well.
Yeah,
but good, very good idea. Because we started with the Apple one, so that absolutely would have been an easy thing to forget. Okay, we're here again. Continue. Oh, you know what I didn't do was put in a debug statement. I don't think putting a debug here is going to matter. I mean, it's just obviously not getting to this result, because we've not even, even if it was null, if it was empty, we should see a blank line.
So we had a print on it before.
Right, which was doing the same thing. Right. That was identical functionality. And yeah, same. Nothing. Have you ever seen this, Jose? It doesn't print.
No. Well, the callback's not being called. But wait, is the screen gone already on the simulator?
Sorry, no, still. Oh, the sheet is gone, yeah.
Yeah, the sheet is gone. Huh. No.
All right, I'm going to move this over so they can share the screen.
And are we debugging? Or yeah, we're debugging, right?
Yeah. Yep. I always run start debugging. So one thing we still didn't do was any setup for Google. So the integration requirements.
No, it's not necessary. Oh, print. Is print going to do what we want to do? I'm using all the time debug print.
I never use debug print, but I know it's a thing. So what does debug print take for us? A string. So this will need to JSON encode this map. And then we'll have to import convert. So this will be Dart convert. This needs to be a colon. Okay, now we have a JSON encode. All right, debug print. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. But I'm willing to test that theory and be proven wrong for the 50th time on national television. All right,
I'm more with you this time. Not betting this time, though. Yeah, I think that would be much better off with a, if we could maybe try with a fast simulator. Every single time it's taking us a little bit. I don't know if that's an option, but maybe that's something we can do.
Yeah, let's, I'll just start the download on a good simulator. So I also, as everyone can see, I don't do this very much. Oh, tools, this is where it was, right? Device manager. So this is where we'd add a new device. So how about a Pixel 6? That should do it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say next. API 33. That looks good. Next. Now I want one with like Google Play. Google, what does it say here?
Go APIs. Yeah. No, but that's, it should say, no, go back. Yeah, I know what the issue is with this. So Pixel 6 doesn't have it. You have to go to one that has the Play Store. Do you see the little icon with the Play in Pixel
like
4?
This one here, yeah.
So that's what you want, yeah.
I have to go all the way back to Pixel 4?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Why do the new ones not have that?
And then you see Google Play, right, on the target. On the right side, you see Google Play.
Yep.
Yeah,
now, so I'm going to need to download. I need to download these, looks like.
It looks like you don't have it. Which may explain, might be that the Pixel 3 was running on a non-Google Play Services image. No, otherwise the button wouldn't show, I think.
Well, it isn't working. Something's not right. I've killed that. We're going to do the new one. Luckily, it's downloading pretty quickly. Use Pixel 4, Muhammad says. Good eye. You and Jose or vibing. We've got more people figuring it out. And then we had use Pixel Money. Let's go with the sticky shift key.
Pixel Pay, your device.
Yeah, I love it. Pixel Pay, Pixel Money. Okay, it's checking the existing file. Sure.
All right, so that's unzipping. Is that actually an M1 that you're running on right now?
It is. I was just bragging about how well it can multitask, and here it is, multitasking in front of everyone's very eyes.
I was coming back to you.
Doing an okay job of it. All right, so I appear to also need to download this.
No, you can cancel that and use Tiramisu.
Oh, it just wasn't clicked. That's right. Okay, good. All right, here we go. We're going to add that it has Google Play. Just for my future reference, because I will forget. All right.
For our future videos. You may need to log in that one as well. But let's see if it's faster. It should be faster.
It seems very likely. Oh, I didn't want to launch it here. This was a terrible mistake.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well,
I can still sign in here.
You can sign in there, yeah.
All right, full screen. Seems a lot faster. This image is also literally a 20th the size of my Google 3 image. That was 10 gigabytes. This is 500 megabytes.
True.
I have no idea how.
But I believe that's the site. I think that's probably the external disk, probably.
Oh, like the provisioned disk.
Yeah, that's what I believe. Is this any faster?
It sure seems faster. It's not amazing. If I bought a new phone and it behaved like this, I would be upset, but it's faster than the other one. All right, account.
Yeah, this brings me back to 2014 simulator issues.
It is also possible that it's all the calls and the streaming and whatnot. I'll test it again off stream and see if it kind of wakes up.
Probably, yeah.
All right, good. Account has no results.
Yeah, it might be called differently now on the new settings. Is this a different image? Tiramisu. What about?
I would expect this to just be at the top and incredibly easy.
I think it's passwords and accounts. Yeah, yeah. I wonder why it didn't find accounts if you typed accounts. Yeah,
Add
add
account.
accounts.
Don't mind
And
me while
here's
I.
another opportunity for us to see your password again.
All right. I'll try
Not
to
lucky this
avoid.
time.
You can read all my spam email if you log in.
Oh,
You can see all my energy company, PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, has been sending me like 3 emails a day. And thankfully, they're not like, you didn't pay your bill. I checked to make sure that there was no problem with that. It's just like random nonsense.
I see.
All right. I'm typing values. This isn't very fast. I think if this doesn't work, we should basically cut our losses and just kind of talk philosophically about things and pretend it printed. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we went anyway the full way through the integration, which is the objective, and it will work fine on normal computers with normal simulators. So don't worry. But I have I have a feeling that what we were missing is a new device with Google Play services. So I think that one is going to give us a result. I'm
Doing
very sure.
two-factor right now.
Android Studio instead of VS Code. Well, Android Studio is Fred WP. Pretty much you can develop with whatever you're comfortable with these days, which is very nice, both on the Flutter and Android. I personally find useful if you're doing Android specific things and you have to fiddle with Gradle, with a simulator, with samples. I think an IDE or Android Studio is useful. At the same time, I think there's a good reason to use more lightweight IDEs like VS Code or Sublime Text. I personally use it for smaller projects. I use VS Code or Sublime Text, and if I have to handle a lot of dependencies and deal with Android stuff, then I use Android Studio. But both work.
So I just signed in, and then it took me back to the screen where I would begin signing in. It didn't. It just didn't work, even though it did work. I think we should call it. I don't think me signing in to another emulator and having it choke and think for 5 seconds on every click is too useful. But yeah, folks saw kind of how to get started, and oh man, we hope to get a lot further in this episode than we got. The malfunctioning, basically non-existent. Uh-oh, Jose, I think you need to plug in your computer, but you probably know that because it looks like it just turned off. What an amazing bit of. Oh, he's back. Was it your camera or your computer whose battery just struggled? You're muted as well. You might need to juggle your audio inputs.
What about now?
Now we hear you.
So the
You sound
camera
great.
that was 100% charged thought that was too much as well, so switched off.
It reached zero charge, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I have there's a battery that actually just plugs in. It's like a faux battery. Just kind of provides the physical interface, but otherwise draws power from the wall. And that is a nice thing. All right. Well, let's just take some questions here and wrap up a little bit. There's a lot of starred questions we didn't get to, and honestly, a lot of Google Pay things we didn't really get to, unfortunately.
A quick
All right, I'm
comment maybe
scrolling.
before
What's
that, if I may. Quick comment, if I may.
Yeah.
And that is that just for you to know that this is really the full integration what we did. So with just the bits that you see right now that Craig implemented, that should be good enough to get you going with integration. So as you can see, it's only a few lines of code. That's for the basic integration. We're thinking or considering doing the customized one. We didn't get time to get to it this time, maybe at another time. But just for you to know that if you have a more specific checkout process, you can use that custom path to integrate payments in your app as well.
Oh,
So
Julian
questions?
says increase the memory.
Yeah, I think simulators typically come with a good configuration already now. Like it's been a while since I haven't looked at it. So you do that on the device manager. So if you close this and go to the if you close this on the right side, you can see on the right of the simulator you can see device manager. So there you can change the hardware settings on if you edit it.
This I think probably is what we would do.
Yeah. Let's see advanced settings.
Here we go. Okay. So internal storage, 2 gigs. Where's its memory? Oh, RAM. Here we go. 1.5 gigs? Yes. That feels like it should be plenty, right?
Yeah, it should be good enough.
Good idea, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this feels all definitely fine. Very odd. All right. Well, good thought, for sure. Click on settings icon on the right, and you can stick it out in Android Studio. Okay, I did want to do this. Settings.
Oh, that icon above the pointer. You have it like
over here?
That one, maybe.
View mode. Oh, here we go. Undock or float. I don't know which one we'll want. Where did it go? Come back. Oh, it just disappeared. I can't find
it. maybe it's on Christy's screen.
Android Studio. Oh, wait. All right, let's try again here. View mode. Let's try float. No, float is back to what we had. View mode. Oh, I clicked float and then it just put it to dock pinned.
What about window? There you go.
I also not what I expected, but okay. I think float was it, and it just failed for some reason and had a fallback.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Varun, you can use Google Pay for free. Yeah, the integration comes at no cost. You can just simply get the API, sign up, and you're good to go.
Julian, we're in trouble. If you're out of here, we got no chance. Have a good one, though. All right. Well, I don't personally run an e-commerce app, but this is absolutely where I would start if I did, especially with the cross-platform opportunities. But yeah, I feel like, sometimes with Firebase, obviously we had it a bit with Pay. Whenever you just kind of leave that raw application code, kind of layer of your app, you start to integrate with more advanced third parties, especially if they relate to the device, then you can just have quite a bit of setup. And had I anticipated that, I would have gone through it in advance. Unfortunately, I wanted to enter this with a very fresh perspective so I could ask questions on the stream. And then that led to asking questions about how to set up an emulator on the screen. So very exciting. Jose, any last thoughts on your end?
What I would like to say is that keep in mind that this is something that we wanted to build for the community as an open source project. So just think of it as your home, really. We have a package page in pub.dev and we have a repo page in GitHub. So again, hopefully it feels like home to you. We accept it's really easy to get set up to contribute. We have a code of conduct and good practices for the repo that you just can go ahead, take a look, and jump in if you want to make any contributions. We want this repo to be something that doesn't necessarily live on Google Pay's end although we'll keep on contributing and supporting to it. So yeah, just wanted to call that out. Any thoughts?
Do you have a contributing
Providers are
guide?
welcome. Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
do you,
should.
I'm not seeing
If
it.
you
Am I
go
missing it?
to Flutter plugin, so if you go one level up, you're now in Flutter plugin pay.
Oh, right. Google Pay was the org. I was thinking Flutter plugin was the org. That makes no sense. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Great. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, feel free to come leave your thoughts and code. We'll be happy to help with that,
Oh,
and hopefully it's
nice. Good
useful.
end-to-end test. Nice. Very nice. All right, Jose, thank you so much for joining. Man, when you do stuff live, sometimes you bump into unexpected things, like you have a new machine and haven't set things up. And I'm sorry that I subjected you to that, but you're a real trooper. And I think we covered the basics. We had hoped to cover some stuff beyond the basics, but we didn't get there. But I really appreciate you joining. It's getting into the evening for you in Spain, right? What time is it right now?
It's about 7:30 p.m., which is a perfect time to live stream with you.
Too kind. Well, it's also maybe a perfect time to have some dinner. So I'm going to release you to that. And folks, this will be our final observable Flutter for the year. Next week on December 29th, I'm going to be in Space Cadet mode and not thinking about the real world. And then we'll be back in January. So I look forward to seeing everyone again. I don't know what the first topic yet is going to be in January, but I'll figure it out and we'll tease it a bit or just announce it outright before the episode. Jose is volunteering to return. He wants more of this. Although,
We'll see.
Jose, if you drive, it'll probably go 1,000 times better. So maybe. All right, folks, until then, happy holidays, happy new year. I will see you all in 2023 with your freshly discarded resolutions.
Happy days. Thanks for joining. Bye.